Couple last things.
Sure,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. Does the United States government have any information as to the whereabouts of the black box and in whose custody it presently resides?
There have been a range of reports about those being in the hands of Russian-backed separatists. I don't believe we have any independent confirmation of the location.
And is it fair to say, just to follow up on Elise's line of questioning earlier, that when the President tells us we still await definitive judgment on the origin point and likely culpability for this attack, is it fair to say that the United States, given the case that Ambassador Power laid out, has at least reached a preliminary conclusion about those matters?
I think there's a range of information that's publicly available, as is the case with serious incidents like this. We'll let the official conclusion be made, but obviously Ambassador Power wouldn't have said that if there wasn't a reasonable belief that that was accurate information.
Don't you see a sort of possible conflict of interest that people might see when the eventual report comes out of how this happened? The U.S. government, given Samantha Power's statements at the UN, is then the U.S. government is then sending the FBI to also be part of this investigation, this report. Couldn't it be difficult for the results of this report to stick if we're already hearing sort of a line from the U.S. government that they believe it's Russia's fault? Then the government is then directly involved in this investigation.
Well, that's not exactly...
There are a range of other nations.
Let me
that
answer
have
your
many.
question. That's not exactly what either the President or Ambassador Power said. They also both made clear that there's an investigation and we're going to see through. The FBI participation, the FBI clearly has a range of important expertise in criminal investigations. I think that's expertise that could, we don't know, could come in handy in this case. That's what they will be offering. So there'll be a range of expertise and entities that will participate in this investigation.
So I have one more on something Ambassador Power said, and that was, she said that we cannot rule out the possibility that there was some kind of Russian technical assistance to the... Why not? Why can't you rule that out? And is she referring to the tapes that the Ukrainians have presented that James referred to earlier? Is that what makes this a question?
She's referring to the technical complexity of the SA-11 and the unlikelihood that the Russian-backed separatists could effectively operate that kind of assistance without assistance, or the kind of system, sorry, without assistance from knowledgeable individuals.
But could not those knowledgeable officials be former Soviet soldiers who happen to be Ukrainian, who happen to have joined the separatists?
She said rule out. We can't rule out.
Okay, but I mean, so she's not intending to make the accusation that that the U.S. believes there was Russian assistance in operating this SA-11 system. She's saying,
she was making the point that it's a
there,
complicated technical system that would require expertise in that system.
Kind of like Churkin questioning why Ukrainian air traffic control routed the plane
I would
over.
hardly compare the two,
Okay.
given it was open airspace.
Sorry, though.
Go ahead,
It's, I understand what you're saying, that you're waiting for the final results. But for a cabinet member to go out and address the world and say we can't rule it out, that's pointing the finger at someone, even if you're not 100% sure. And given the fact that you're careful in all other areas so as not to say anything, I mean, clearly you didn't want to say anything yesterday. You're not saying with 100% certainty that Russia was involved, but you are pointing the finger at Russia. To say that you're not is disingenuous, I think.
I think we're laying out a range of contextual facts that we've been concerned about for some time.
You're building a case against Russia, is that?
No, I wouldn't put it that way. I think it's clear with the SA-11, which is a complicated technical system, it's hard to see how separatists, could do that on their own. She was making a statement of a fact. She said we couldn't rule it out. She didn't say an individual is at fault, or she didn't say it absolutely is. There are a range of facts in this case that are publicly available information or information that we've assessed. She said in her own statement that there's going to be an investigation.
I just think that if you weren't reasonably sure that you felt that Russia had some capability here, you wouldn't even be laying out a possible Russian involvement.
Well, capability, which was laid out, is different. Culpability, I thought you said capability. Again, Elise, I I think if you look at what she stated and what her remarks outlined, it was information laying out the context of what we've seen happen on the ground.
Can we go to